That's right. What you read is true. We got robbed.
And we're going to talk about what happened, the story behind it, and how you can avoid the situation. Plus, do you have the right RV living full-time insurance? We thought we did, but wow, were we in for a big surprise. I have a work trip that I do twice a year in San Diego.
One of the ways I make money is by contracting out my services. Having owned a disc jockey company in the past, I've got some special skills that are in demand, and I'm actually at a leadership seminar that I've been doing for a long time, well over 10 years. And so I help set up the audio visual and run that for a couple of times a year, and I'm in San Diego right now, and this is the seminar room, and it is quite a production. I mean, I'm not the only one that sets all of that up. We have a lot of help, and it's just a specialized thing that I kind of learned how to do.
One of the ways that we afford full-time RV living is a contract job that I do twice a year in San Diego. It's an amazing place. We get put up in a really nice resort.
Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah, so we were still in Montana at the time, so we put the RV in storage in Montana and took a 3-day trip to San Diego in our adventure car, which we packed to the hilt, did we not?
Yeah, it really was.
We are ditching the RV and heading south to San Diego. One of the ways that I make money is to help produce a seminar, and so instead of flying, we're driving, and it means we have to load up the Prius with all kinds of stuff, clothes, gear, and we haven't done this before. So this will be an interesting challenge to get all of it. Food.
Yeah, don't forget to talk about camping on the way back.
All of that, yes, with planned camping.
Yeah, so we're tent camping on our way back so we can do some more exploring.
Yeah.
And I don't have a whole lot of experience with tent camping, so this will be interesting.
Yeah, me either. So, but I have done it before.
We're packing sleeping bags and tent and
Yeah.
gear, supplies.
So much.
All in a little Prius for how long?
For, gosh, almost 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're not gonna be tenting that whole time.
No.
It'll be a lot. That's gonna have to move.
Yeah.
So that won't ride well in the RV. And all of this, plus the stuff that's already in there, has got to go in that little car. So we'll see how that works. Time to leave this amazing spot near Red Lodge, Perry's RV Park, and it's so awesome right here on the river. Just super cool to hear that sound all the time.
It's like way down, you're like sitting back. It's like all this stuff must weigh 500 pounds.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff in this little Prius here. I don't even want to open the back because it's kind of hard. It's very,
so low to the ground.
very tight.
Are you sure it's okay to travel with this much weight?
Cherie's been mud bogging in the car, if you can't tell. So, trying to take it off-road. So yeah, very, very packed. You haven't weighed it down like that before?
No, I've never seen it like this or felt it like that.
Yeah, it should be fine. So it's not touching. So that's the important thing.
Holy cow.
So packed.
Oh my god.
Very low to the ground.
Yeah.
And driving is unusual for this trip. Usually it's a flying trip, but it was nice to be able to take some additional equipment. We had plans to do some camping on the way back, put a lot of our camping gear in the car with a whole bunch of electronic equipment, because what I do is the audio visual portion of this seminar. We had a really great time on the drive down there.
It was a great time, and it was a beautiful drive.
ready to leave on day 2 of our trip down to San Diego.
Yeah.
And we heard a boom. And then the lights went out. And it's like,
Spooky.
it is. It's like, this is the hotel hallway. Just the exit signs lit up and a creaky door here or there. It's time to get out of here and get on the road.
Let's do it.
I think get out of spooky hotel.
Right.
And for the last night, I got on Priceline like I often do to either bid for or do one of their express deals to get a really good deal on a hotel room. We thought, well, maybe a nicer 3 or 4 star hotel in La Jolla, California for our last stop. It ended up giving us the Marriott La Jolla,
Yeah.
which we thought
Oh, score.
really nice.
Yeah.
And it was very, very nice.
It was wonderful.
Yes, we had so much fun there. The only thing is when I went to park the car, they wanted $30 to park the car. And that's like the highest parking fee I have ever heard of.
Yeah, and even the bellman was wanting us to unload everything right there to take in the room. And they wouldn't allow us to use a cart. And we had tons of stuff. So we
Right.
were rushed. It was dark. You just had like one little overnight bag, right?
Yeah. And my briefcase that has like my main computer and a bunch of my papers and organizational things like that. And so we basically got up to the room. I put the car on the street, and it was a dark street, and it was a bad decision.
Well, La Jolla is the most affluent area in the San Diego area.
Definitely one of the most.
Felt really confident that, we didn't have any reason to question parking the car on the street.
Really, we didn't. And it was late, tired, wanted to get some food. And so basically had a good time that night.
Yes, we took some pictures overlooking La Jolla.
Yeah, and just a really nice hotel. Slept in, got a late checkout, walked out to the car about 1 o'clock. It was a Saturday afternoon, and I saw the car.
You were on one side, I was on the passenger side. I was waiting for you to unlock it because this car only unlocks from one side. So I was waiting for him to unlock it, and I'm kind of looking around, and I heard him say no. And so then I was like, what?
My eyes couldn't believe what I was seeing.
I saw him looking down, so I looked down, and the window I was standing next to was busted out.
And what I was looking at was the seat folded down where my big suitcase full of all of my clothes. Seeing that bag right there makes a big difference. Okay, we're outside of the Marriott La Jolla. I'm not sure what street this is. I'm looking at
Costa Verde.
Costa Verde is a cross street, and it's a broken window on the back passenger side. Looks like only one broken window. So I don't know what's missing yet. And this was about 3 week trip, and it's a business trip and pleasure. So I had my business suit, my nicest clothes.
All of his favorite clothes.
It was packed with clothes that was gone, and the seat was folded down.
That was something else that was something different. The seat was folded down.
And we were in shock. Just completely in shock.
Yeah.
Stunned for several minutes.
Right.
And I called 911, got a recording, and waited on hold. And as soon as somebody came on, it was like, oh, it's non-emergency situation. You need to call the police directly. So I called the non-emergency line and was informed that I should make an online police report. Online. And they didn't even send a police officer.
No.
And I love the city of San Diego, but I have to say not a great experience with the police department.
No.
At all. And I get it. I think this is not like a random or unusual occurrence there. They're inundated with things like this, but it seems like they would send somebody out to investigate. We were basically told to do our own police detective work. I was told to check with the hotel to see if they have security cameras pointing down there.
And they don't.
No, nothing on the street. And we drove around the neighborhood asking people if they saw anything unusual. We thought, well, maybe they went through the luggage and, you know, threw out what they didn't want. Maybe we'd find a suitcase full of, you know, a bunch of clothes they didn't want.
Yeah, so we did ride around a little bit and look around, and of course we didn't find anything. But can you recall all the things that were missing? Nice tripod that we had just bought.
Several computers,
several laptops,
microphones,
camping gear that we were going to use to camp on our way back to do some exploring in some of the national parks.
About $5,000 roughly in items that were stolen. Devastated, shocked. We immediately had to go into crisis mode. Like, what do we do? Because
you had to be on the next day.
Yes, the next day, Sunday, is a setup day for this seminar, and I've now had, I would say, right, zero.
No clothes.
The clothes I'm wearing is what I have, and the equipment, I would say 75% of my gear was taken. Now, by the grace of God or the universe, the main piece of luggage, it was actually a piece of luggage that my daughter gave me, was still sitting in the back of the car. I think the person, and we think the person was probably homeless.
We're thinking they were homeless because they took luggage, they took camping gear, sleeping bags that are geared for colder weather. They tried on some Tom's shoes that we had. We had all our shoes in the back seat. Instead of packing them in luggage, we put them all in the back seat. Hiking boots, dress shoes. They tried on a pair of his dress shoes, left it on the seat, which they weren't left like that.
They at least checked the size, and
so they were either tried them on, checked the size, decided it wasn't for them.
Right.
So they were looking for clothing, shoes, sleeping bags. So we do feel like it was the homeless that broke into the car.
And the sleeping bags were right on top.
They were on top.
Which, you know, I would think like, normally I would think hide the electronic gear and clothing on top, because who wants clothing?
Right.
Who breaks into a vehicle for clothing? Well,
the homeless.
Yeah, and again, we're in this really nice neighborhood. We didn't think that was the case.
Right.
But
there is a big homeless population there.
There really is.
And even the Marriott people said that it's probably homeless.
Yes, and I just want to mention, so this piece of luggage that was there had my most vital things in it. Some older computers and my camera that were still in there. And if that had been taken, then I would have been a lot more in a pinch for getting this seminar done. And so we went into crisis mode. We first went for clothes.
Yeah, had to have clothes.
A quick stop at a department store, a couple $100 worth of clothes, just enough to get me by the week.
I want to add that right after we discovered everything, talked to the police, rode around, it's like 3:30 by this point, and we hadn't eaten all day. So we decided to go grab a bite to eat and found a Panera. So we're still like in this weird zone, like we're zoned out. And as soon as we pull up, a girl approaches us at our window that's homeless and asks for money. And Tom graciously pulls out a $20 bill and hands it to her. Then she asked for more money, and he pulls out another $20 bill and handed it to her. And I sat there and I cried, because what a beautiful moment that was, after thinking the homeless just robbed us blind, that we're still giving back.
Yeah, and I do want to make a difference for the homeless, and I'm not blaming them for taking my stuff if it was a homeless person, but one of the things that we're going to talk about throughout this video is about getting to a state of being okay with the situation and being, what you often say is getting to be resourceful in the moment when you need to be. And it would have been very easy for us to be victim to the situation and cry the rest of the day about how terrible this was, but that was not something that I could do because I am contracted, I am depended on to produce this really big time leadership conference, and one of the things we talk about is taking responsibility regardless of circumstances
and not being a victim.
So by giving, I get to raise myself to a higher state of peace about what is going on, instead of like, are you kidding? I'm not giving to you. Right.
Yeah. And we would like to live by our name, enjoy the journey. And that's what it's about. When bad things happen to you, it's either a lesson or it's entertainment. And this one, I mean, it was a big lesson for us, and we believe that things happen for a reason. And even in the moment when we were still in shock, we were going, you know, there's a reason this happened, and we're just going to move forward and figure it out, and everything happens for the best. So that's the attitude that we took with it, and that's something we want to show others too, and lead by example. Just have a good attitude about it. Yes, we were in shock, but we still moved forward and made things happen.
And we did try to find some entertainment out of it. We would say, well, we're looking for a really well-dressed homeless person with some really awesome camera equipment.
Right.
And it did take a few days. I would even say it's been a process of weeks to really get okay with the situation. You feel violated that your personal things were taken. And I think about my clothing, and maybe you can think about it yourself, is your clothing is kind of your identity. You're used to seeing yourself in your favorite clothes. My first date outfit with you
gone.
was in there. It's gone.
Yeah.
And so these are some of these items we can't replace because we're just not going to find that. Although we did find one identical shirt in the store that I did have.
But in the end, it's just stuff.
Right.
You know.
And it makes me really feel a lot of compassion for, I mean, people right now are living through wildfires. Their entire homes are being burned down. They're losing everything. And I lost a small amount of stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's humbled me. I've learned a lot. I've learned to find peace with this situation. And I can't say I'm 100% there. But like Cherie said, I mean, this is what the channel is about. It's enjoying the journey. Sometimes RV living is not smooth sailing. Yes, and this was a challenge we didn't expect. When I went in to see the hotel about the situation, they basically washed their hands of it. And I understand that's going to be their corporate policy, that they're not responsible for it either, but there really wasn't anything that the Marriott could do. And they did, on the other hand, they did say that this had happened in the past. And so what I really wish they had said, when I said, I'm just gonna park on the street, someone could have said, look, we've had incidences of theft in the past, so we would really recommend you park in the garage. If they had said that, I would have paid the $30. In fact, the $30 wasn't even out of our pocket. The company I work for would have reimbursed that. So I was really making a foolish financial decision to save $30, which ended up costing me thousands of dollars.
Well, why don't you tell them about the insurance and what happened with that, Tom? I'll be back.
Well, I really wanted this to be a positive experience about the insurance. Like, I thought we had picked a really great RV insurance carrier, and that's Progressive. I switched companies about a year ago because I heard that Progressive has a really great full-time RV living policy that is a lot like a homeowner's policy. In fact, their marketing on their website says that it's like a homeowner's policy. Plus, Progressive also insures our vehicles, our adventure car, which we were in, as well as our tow truck. And so I called Progressive. Actually, I started with my agent and made the claim. This is actually on two different policies. I do have a business policy with auto owners, and thankfully they are going to be covering a portion, less the deductible, of the equipment that was taken. So I'm very happy that auto owners is sorry to hear about the loss, and I just have to make a really detailed accounting of everything that was taken, and it's hundreds of different items because it was a lot of cabling and stuff like that. But Progressive is another story, and I really wish this had worked out differently, but I made the claim and they came back and they said it was not covered, that none of my clothing, the luggage, the camping gear was not covered. And I was shocked again that how is this possible, because I've got lots of insurance. I mean, I feel like insurance is really great to have because it gives you peace of mind that you know if something happens, you're going to be taken care of, less some kind of deductible, and then you can quickly get back to where you were. But Progressive, which I feel like they're not really forthcoming in this, and I really want to hear your experience if you have Progressive and you've had claims, or if you have another full-time RV living policy on your RV.
Yes, let us know what you do to have something that's more homeowners like, because Progressive was super disappointing.
Yeah, it said that your items, your personal items, are covered on your property. And I thought, well, it's our car, that's our property, it should be covered. And a typical homeowners or renters policy covers your personal items in other locations like your car. And now we don't have full coverage on the adventure car. That's just a Toyota Prius that we bought used for a few $1,000s cash, and it wasn't something we had full coverage. But I asked the adjuster, I said, well, if we had had full coverage like we do on the truck, would it have been covered? And she said no, which shocks me again, because we actually keep some stuff in the truck in storage because we've got it's a big truck. It's got a whole back seat, and it's a big cab truck kind of thing.
Right.
And
so what are we supposed to do when we're traveling and we have a lot of gear? Are we supposed to get out and take it in the grocery store with us?
Well, this was shocking, and I really hope that if there's something that we can share from our loss, that you will question your RV insurance carriers to make sure your stuff is covered. Now, some of you maybe have a home still, and you've got some coverage there as well. Maybe you don't have a full-time RV policy and you don't need one, but for a lot of you looking at doing this or doing it currently, might be calling or should be calling your insurance carriers like today, like right now, after you watch this video, to see if you are covered. Because if this was not another slap in the face by the adjuster from Progressive, when I asked, I said, well, what are we supposed to do when we're traveling in the car? And she said, don't take your stuff with you. I'm like,
that's not really a solution.
Wait a second. So if we're traveling to a hotel, we don't have coverage and should not take luggage with clothing and personal items? We haven't figured it out yet. This is so new, and we've only been back
couple weeks.
Yeah, here in Montana again, and we're still trying to sort through this mess. And so again, if you have advice on how you have dealt with a situation like this or have a great insurance company, because believe me, we are going to be shopping for other insurance so that we don't have something like this happen again.
And Tom is super good about making sure everything is usually super covered, and so this was a huge disappointment. So after this happened, I did a post on Facebook with some photos, and some of the advice that we got was, when you're in the larger cities, take everything out of the car and leave it unlocked. That way you don't have to replace the window, because we're at this beautiful resort and I had to spend my time finding a replacement window, find a place to have it installed, doing a lot of shopping for Tom, for some replacement items, some business cords or whatever. And so I ended up spending my whole week, busying myself with fixing what had happened. So I guess that's probably good advice in the bigger cities when people can easily break into your car.
Yeah, that's shocking to me, and I guess you're gonna have to decide what's appropriate for you. And we'd really like your advice if you've got other ideas about how to protect your items in your car. And already before this, I typically cover up my stuff with a jacket. The Prius has that little thing that you pull over the back.
Cover, yeah.
And I wouldn't leave like one of our cameras or something nice sitting out. You wouldn't leave your purse sitting out for someone to see. And I think none of us have had anything taken out of a vehicle before. And so I guess that's advice that I'm sure a lot of you do. But again, let us know if you've got additional advice on how to handle a situation like this, whether you're traveling or if you're in a big city.
Yeah, I mean, I even told Tom, when I was a teenager, I had a convertible, and I used to ride around with the top down all the time and just park at a grocery store or at a friend's house or anywhere and go in and not worry about what was in the car, and I never had anything stolen. So yeah, this was a unique experience.
This was kind of interesting. As part of the seminar that I work with, we do a community service project where we give back. And because I work in the audiovisual area, we were going to go out there and get a little bit of additional footage and take the drone up. And to my surprise, the address was only a few blocks away
from where
this happened.
We are back in La Jolla, California. Really cool project here. The students are on silent, so we're kind of whispering here. They've been building homes for homeless in Mexico. It's kind of ironic for us to be coming through here right now after it was just a little over a week ago that our car was broke into here in La Jolla, just a few blocks
just a couple blocks from here.
And we think it was a homeless person that did it. And, certainly upsetting, but we're also thinking they needed my clothes more than I did.
Yeah.
And
so it's interesting that it's like a full circle thing. Now we're back here doing something for the homeless.
Yeah, we're back here with the group that's built like 8 prefabricated walls. And you can edit that out, right?
Yeah.
And they're just wrapping up right now. As you can see, they are loading the truck back there. And in a few days, that is going to go down to a community just around Tijuana, Mexico, where some families that have been waiting for a home for months or years even.
The students of the seminar actually put together what equals to be 8 homes here. Isn't that right?
Yeah. And I mean, you think about it, they're doing it in just a few hours time. And the building codes in Mexico are not quite like they are in the US, but it's going to be given to homes that may be living in cardboard boxes. And so
they will be so thankful to have a home.
A huge improvement over what they've got now.
This project, which is an amazing project, is for an organization called Project Mercy that helps build homes for the homeless just a few miles across the border in Mexico. And what the students of the seminar were doing was prefabricating homes in this church parking lot and then loading up the prefabricated walls onto a truck.
Right.
And that goes down to Mexico, where another team comes in and puts these up. And I believe they made homes for 8 or 9 homeless families. So one of the ways that we want to make the world a better place and improve RVers' reputation in some places, because maybe some of you don't know, there are communities that really don't care for
like
RVers, or RVs are banned. And here's a way to improve our reputation and make a difference by each community that you go to, that you're camping in for the weekend or for the month, whatever it is. Look for a way to make a difference.
Yeah, find a way to either give back. It doesn't have to be monetary. It could be your time. Find a place where you can volunteer or clean up a park or just do something for the community.
We'd like to set up a hashtag called RV Making a Difference.
Like, are we making a difference? RV making a difference.
Yeah, hashtag RV Making a Difference. Use that when you do something and let us know in the comments as well, because we want to be a community of people that is making a difference out there, making the world a better place, doing kind things for other people. And I think with that, we're going to attract more kind things to ourselves as well.
Yes.
And we have a really great example of that.
Right. When we were in Charleston, we stayed with my mom while the RV was getting some work done. And she had a trip. She was going out of town to Iceland to see the Northern Lights. And she has a tradition every Valentine's Day. She buys roses for all her widow friends. It's a tradition that she does every year for her widow friends. She hand delivers a single red rose to each one on Valentine's Day, and she's gonna happen to be out of town that Valentine's Day. So we actually picked up the job and did it for her, and the local news picked up on the story, and we did a video on that, so we'll link to that one. We had the best day ever.
It was so much fun.
It was so much fun, and just to see these widows' faces light up with delight, knowing my mom was going to be out of town, and they still got their rose.
Yeah, and that's the really cool thing. When you give back, when you make a difference, you get paid back as well by this tremendous sense of feeling like
love.
Yeah, you made this difference for other people, and that really fills your heart.
Yes.
As well. So it's really a win-win situation. So please join us as a community of RV people, whether you're full-time, part-time, whatever.
Or wanna
do it in
wanna
5 or 10
RV.
years.
Yeah.
5 or 10 years.
Show us how you're giving back to the community. It's kind of a pay it forward type thing, but let's start a trend of giving and doing and being a better part of the community.
Yes, and thanks so much for watching this video. I really hope that you got something from our experience. And again, we want your advice and your comments below as well. Share this video with your RV friends.
Yes, and don't forget to click subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. By the way, we met a couple of our subscribers when we were in San Diego. So shout out
to Joan and Christy.
Hello. Good to see you. Nice to meet you. New friends.
Yeah, thanks for watching,
we
guys.
hope to run into more of you on the road. And thumbs up, because we love the thumbs up. And if thumbs down's your thing, do that too, because we don't care.
We love our haters as well.
Yes, that's right.
So thanks again, guys. And we will catch you in the next video.
Yes.
You and me, everything that we've been through has made us strong. You won't believe we've had our gray, but somewhere there's a light inside of us. It shows the way. Not looking for no